Hey all you GBA type people, welcome to Pivotal Moments for the Season 2 GBA D-League. I'm not going to tell you what we do because we've been doing this for 10 weeks now, Tup?
Yep.
Yeah, you guys know what this is. And we have more important things to get into. The finals.
Oh yeah, it's all come down to this. We've got the two underdogs from each division from the playoffs going head to head. Now, after last week in the first round of the playoffs, both of these guys coming off of 4-0s, we really weren't sure what we were going to see going into this match. And it was one of the most interesting battles of the season just because of how much the pace changed so quickly throughout the match.
Absolutely. Tup and I were talking beforehand, and I told him, I don't expect a match to really pick up and get interesting 20 minutes in. Normally there's shot for shot in the beginning, and, it's just a lot this season has just been wearing down walls, and then Crobat comes in and Brave Birds everything, or, Entei comes in and E-speeds the world. Stuff like that happens. You get walls worn down, and then you have one Pokemon that just comes in and takes care of business. That did not happen this time.
Yeah, this was a very interesting match. And for those of you who don't know, we had the Washington Blazikens and the New York Shelmets. And Blue's favorite Blazikens against my favorite Shelmets. The better team won. Wink, wink.
This was a pure grudge match.
It was. After both of us botched our picks in the first round of the playoffs, we could say with a friendly smile that these were probably one of each of our favorite coaches who we wanted to see win the finals.
Yeah.
Let's do a team rundown real quick before we start analyzing. The Blazikens brought Mega Venusaur, Skarmory, Hydreigon, Entei, Lucario, and Mamoswine. And the Shelmets brought Garchomp, Tornadus, Doublade, Fortress, Blissey, and Manaphy.
So, the very beginning of this match, honestly, was underwhelming. And I say that with nothing but respect for both of the coaches. The initial back and forth was a lot of stealth rocking, a lot of defogging, a lot of rapid spinning, and then a lot of whirlwinding. That probably went on for 5 minutes, maybe more.
At least.
It didn't really start to change pace a little bit until Skarmory whirlwinded out and brought in a Fortress. So Fortress pretty much walled the Skarmory. The Skarmory couldn't do a whole lot to it. And that's when Skarmory had to start making some choices. Eventually Skarmory got paralyzed against Tornadus that came in. Double para, FYI. It lived a heat wave. It did not live a second heat wave. So that Skarmory was absolutely bulky. That Skarmory could take hits. But that's when Skarmory went down. Mighty Mamoswine had no chance of getting rocks back up because I believe Fortress had either rapid spin them away or he would later in the match. But that's when you really started to see the downfall within the first couple 10, 15 minutes. Shortly after that, Mega Venusaur comes in against Blissey. And all of the hacks happened. You had 3 turns against Blissey where Mega Venusaur got fully paralyzed. Tornadus comes in. Mega Venusaur gets fully paralyzed again. Tornadus goes for a Hurricane, lands the Hurricane. Mega Venusaur lives it, but then gets confused.
So yeah, there was actually a missed Hurricane in between all of that. So that's the first one missed. The Venusaur was able to get up the Synthesis. So that was right after the 4 straight paras. So Nick was really bad this game, luck-wise. As it went with back-to-back paralysis. It seemed like they all got grouped together.
But it started to turn around slowly after the demise of Mega Venusaur, which, it's Mega Venusaur. I love Mega Venusaur, but I hate playing against them, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, they're bulkier than all get out. And right after Mega Venusaur came down, Nick revealed what, in my opinion, was the best set of the match.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, Manaphy was in front of Entei, and Entei went, I forget, there was a brief exchange, and then Entei went for a Solar Beam. And Gassie's like, oh, that's interesting. And then you see the Power, and then Solar Beam just obliterated Manaphy. And I was just like, Solar Beam, yes! Yeah, that was definitely a highlight of the match for me.
You have to love random Solar Beams. And, it fits so well.
Yeah, he had a plan. He went in and he executed it. This was definitely an unexpected answer for Manaphy. I can't see any other reason on Gassie's team that he would have really had the Power Herb Solar Beam outside of catching Manaphy off guard and putting it down.
And then I believe this is where we had the the biggest turnaround. Not that Solar Beam, Power Herb, Entei would win the Blazikens the match, but everything turned really shot for shot immediately following after this.
So yeah, Tornadus went on to pretty much prove its worth in this match, notching up a total of 3 kills, which, I mean, that's half of Nick's team it knocked out before it ended up going down. This was really closer to the end of the match as it went on. We're talking about this really quick. This was almost an hour-long battle. And right towards the end of the match, which it was getting really nitty-gritty, and Gassy was trying to figure out whether or not Mighty Mammoth Swine had extreme speed on Entei and Lucario, or just on Lucario. And I was screaming at my screen, Entei isn't shiny, it doesn't have extreme speed. Because if I'm not mistaken, only the event Entei gets extreme speed. Am I correct?
It is locked, yeah. So that's the only way that Entei can exist.
Just like only shiny Raikou can have Aura Sphere.
Right.
It's part of the Legendary Dog Collection exclusive things.
Right.
And I mean, an easy oversight. I made that mistake against John in Season 4. And while he was debating that, Mighty Mammoth Swine still had Hydreigon, Entei, and Lucario, and he had Tornadus Therian sitting there, and he was trying to figure out whether to go for Hurricane and try and take it out or not. He goes for a Hurricane, and it misses, and he has to take a huge hit from Dark Pulse from the Hydreigon. And in my opinion, which, I mean, hindsight is 2020, had he gone for a U-turn there, he would have gone first, put Hydreigon at easily revengeable range for anything, so I mean, it would probably only left it with maybe 10% health. And when Tornadus came back in, would have been at full health. I mean, granted, something would have had to come in at that point to take a huge hit. But, I don't know. I mean, that could have completely changed it a different way that I'm not thinking of, so.
I actually thought the same thing. When Yazzie was trying to decide, I'm like, just U-turn again. What are you doing, man? Come on. Hurricane might miss. Don't play those odds. Please don't play those odds. But he did. And had it been me, given that Garchomp had like 7 HP left at that point, I'd have probably U-turned out into Garchomp, sacked the Garchomp. I don't know that Hydreigon would have gone down to that U-turn. Would have brought Tornadus back in, U-turned again, gone back out into Doublade. Because, I mean, Entei and Lucario, aside from the Ice Punch that Lucario revealed at the very end, I don't know that they would have had a great way to deal with Tornadus after that, if he had to switch back into it. But, you know, again, I'm not in that position. I don't know, I don't know how the EVs and everything are. So, like Tup said, completely 2020 hindsight. But that's how it shook down. Eventually, we got down to Lucario and Entei against Doublade and Garchomp. Lucario is in against Doublade. Lucario switches out into Entei. Gassy calls it and switches Doublade out into Garchomp.
He's Choice Scarf, so he's faster than everything. He goes for Earthquake. Lucario comes in, goes for the Extreme Speed, which takes out Garchomp. Lucario gets Rough Skin damage and Life Orb damage, and then Doublade comes in, and the oddest play, in my opinion, of the match, which is where the previously mentioned Ice Punch comes out on Doublade. And the only thing that I can think of is that he was thinking the only way that I can win this is if I get an Ice Punch freeze. Because, I mean, he was guaranteed to go first outside of Gassy going for a Shadow Sneak, which I think would have never been the right play to make in that scenario. But, I mean, goes for the Ice Punch, does minimal damage, doesn't get the freeze, and then the match is sealed with Doublade going for Secret Sword.
Yeah, so, again, you have Doublade winning a championship game. Clearly there's a secret here. Doublade is OP. That has to be the answer.
Yeah, it was interesting to see it go down to the wire again in a championship match in the GBA, whether it be in the D-League or not, and Doublade puts in the work and is the last Pokemon standing. So, I mean, we need to take a look at this thing and make sure that it's not broken and we just don't know it.
Yeah, is this thing tiered properly?
Yeah.
Either way, a match that started, the first 10 to 15 minutes in with 6 full para hacks and a confusion hit ended in a 1-0. That's insane. And for the record, Gassy seemed a little stressed out in the beginning too. just based off of his frustrations with the hacks checks initially before the match started. So props to him for pulling it together.
Yeah, like you said, they were having connectivity issues with the possibly illegal sets on the Mons, and you know how the hack check gets online half the time.
Yeah.
And it really frustrated him because I think they tried 3 or 4 times before they actually got connected.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in order for Gassy to be able to just cycle through different Mons, not having the team that he originally wanted to take into this, and then still win, I mean, that is fairly phenomenal. I mean, you're taking a team which you had specially ev'd, special move sets to take on the threats that he brought, and he called Nick's team fairly well for what he planned to, and then not have everything you think you have going, and he was still able to pull it back and be the D-League Season 2 champion.
So again, a special congratulations to both of our finalists, and a super congratulations to Super Gassy, who won the whole thing, him and the New York Shelmets. Congratulations. But we would be remiss if we did not mention the end-of-season league leaders. So that's what we're going to jump into right now. So at number 10, we have Tornadus T making an appearance. Member of the Shelmets, as we had just discussed. Went +4. Scizor, still on here with the Stantlers at a +4. Gudra from the Arcaniners, number 8, with a +5. Alakazam from the Blaziken, who was not brought to this match, which made me sad. But Alakazam rounds out at number 7 with a +5. And Landorus Incarnate from the San Francisco Arcaniners as well rounds out the number 6 spot with a +5 for the season.
At number 5, we have the only Pokemon on the league leader list that did not perform in the playoffs. So, I mean, this being at number 5 was a testament to how well it did during the regular season. Because its stats did not change from the end of the season like all these other Pokemon did. And that's Crobat, coming in at a +5 differential. We have Zapdos of the Arcaniners with a +6. We have number 3, Hitmonlee of the Arcaniners with a +6, and we had a huge jump this week. Lucario made it all the way up to number 2 with his performance in the finals with a +6 coming in from the Blazikens. And still setting at number 1, never having died during the regular season with a +11 differential, Reuniclus of the New York Shelmets.
Incredible.
Yeah, and the performance of Reuniclus, I think we mentioned this last week, was so good with Super Gassy that it got re-tiered going into the GBA Season 5 structure. So Gassy did so well with this Pokemon that it actually changed its tiering when it was reconsidered. So, I mean, that just proves how well that Gassy used this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still floored that Reuniclus is 11-0. Good Lord. Yeah. That's insane. But you know what? Still very deserved of the number 1 spot. And most offensive Pokemon of the season, I believe, as per the awards. So those are your league leaders for the end of the Season 2 GBA D-League. Tup and I want to give a special, awesome congratulations to all of the competitors on an amazing season. And another special congratulations to Subagassy and the New York Shelmets for winning the whole thing.
So, yeah, everybody did really good this season. You guys performed better than we thought, more than we expected, and we want to thank you and congratulate you for putting the time and effort into making the GBA D-League Season 2 a success and a joy to be a part of.
Absolutely. I know this was kind of my first run at it, and I couldn't have imagined a better crew to kind of wean me in on all of the craziness that is league format. So, a personal thank you from me to the coaches for giving me good matches to review, good drafts to look at. Just overall, awesome plays, awesome mons, really creative sets. It was a pleasure for me personally. This is the last Pivotal Moments. Pivotal Moments will not be continued on to GBA Season 5, but if you want more Pivotal Moments, I will be doing that on my podcast, KantoCast. If you guys aren't familiar, I do a podcast, and it's called KantoCast. So feel free to check that out.
All right, guys, we want to throw one last thank you out, and that is to you, the viewers. We wouldn't be here doing what we do if it wasn't for you guys to come around, listen, and watch our videos, and comment and leave us the feedback. We're very appreciative of everybody who takes the time out of their busy day and schedule to sit down, and listen to us two chatty Cathys talk up these matches.
And we would be remiss if we did not give you one last thing to comment about. So, now that the GBA Season 2 D-League is over, who was your favorite team throughout the entire season? Did it change? Were you full-heartedly a Washington Blazekins fan the entire time? Or did you shift gears over to the New York Shelmets? Or something like that? Let us know in the comments below.
Alright guys, this has been the last edition of Pivotal Moments for the GBA D-League Season 2. For KantoCastBlue, this is Oldmantup, and we will catch you on the flip side. Peace out.